Our next speaker is someone who has also dedicated her life to the soul of money and the spirit of money and how it can be a force for good in people's lives. Sarah McCrum is a coach specializing in working with game changers and conscious entrepreneurs. She's also author of the book Love Money, Money Loves You. She spent 23 years teaching and coaching business owners and their families to solve the gritty human problems that prevent them from finding fulfillment in the business and their life. Sarah is co-originator of Love To, doing incredible things, and I hope we get to hear a little bit about Love To. It's absolutely brilliant what's taking place there and fascinating. She's also founder of Liberate Humanity. Both these businesses are examples of the principles of her book, Love Money, Money Loves You. Sarah McCrum, it's wonderful to have you with us.
Thank you, Ben. I too am an entrepreneur. A little later, I'll show you how what we do links with what we've just been hearing about affordable and healthy and honest food. To start off with, I'd like to play a recording, which is really an artistic expression of how we could express our sacred mission as human beings, and also leading into my sacred mission. And what I'd like you to do as you listen to this recording, rather than just listening to it, is ask yourself as you listen, how do we put this into business? How do we put this into the economy?
We are the breath of life.
Hoping to hear some music starting very soon.
You and I. We are in the wind. We are in the trees. We are in the soil. We are in the rivers and the lakes and the seas. We are the breath of life, you and I. We move together through space, through the stars, and home again. We breathe as one and as two. We breathe life in. We breathe life out. We breathe together. And we breathe apart. We breathe life for each other. We see, we know, we breathe. We are the breath of life. As it breathes. So we breathe. are the breath of life. You and I.
The music was composed by Gary Malkin, and the art is called Singing Life into Being by Nico Dumovic. So I could summarize my sacred mission as uniting the spiritual and the material. I found that if things get too spiritual, we get disconnected from our life. And if we get too material, our life begins to feel empty and purposeless. And so it's when we unite the two together, which is the enormous challenge of being human, that we actually get to live a fulfilled and very alive life, and also often a challenging life. I've chosen to do that in business, and especially around the topic of money. Money is really the essence of material. It represents material without being any kind of material. And it's also often been the thing that is seen as being the furthest away from spirituality. And to me, if we can see the sacredness in money, if we can see the sacredness in our economy and all of our economic activity, we are then naturally motivated to work towards a healthier and more sacred economy that unites the spiritual and the material aspects of our lives. I see the possibility through the businesses that I'm involved with of building an economy that is fundamentally about investing in well-being and wealth. It is creating more well-being for all participants in life, all of what we affect on this planet. And it is building wealth, a genuine, true wealth that enables more well-being. And there is immediately a virtuous cycle. More well-being creates more desire to work and contribute, which creates more wealth, which creates more well-being when the economy is aligned in the right way. So how do we do that in an economy where currently a dead tree is more valuable than a living tree? I have a friend who has a piece of land with trees on it. His father wants him to sell them, and he wants to keep them. And how does he make that economically viable? Extracted minerals are way more valuable than living ecosystems who produce those minerals in the first place. And currently, death and sickness and destruction are big economic drivers. Health, we tend to take care of for ourselves at a much smaller level. It's easier to be, it's easy, you get more money invested if you're sick than if you do to be healthy. So we fundamentally have what we can call a death-focused economy rather than a life economy. So we looked at how we can change that. Love2 is a group of companies that have come together around this mission to change the way that we value things so that we can actually value what is truly valuable to us as human beings. Because we can say we value nature, but if we don't put our money into it, we don't value it, actually. Money is one of the primary ways that we express value, along with our time, along with the other things that we can invest. And what we found is that there was no business model for doing it. The capital is over here, all the money. The farmers and the land managers are all over here doing their thing, the regenerative ones doing it beautifully, and there's no way for them to meet because there are problems around scale. Farming is very unpredictable. There are droughts and all kinds of issues like that. And so investors don't really like to invest in farming unless they can control it. And to create a healthy food system, you can't have that level of control. So what we wanted to do was build a business model that enabled a system solution, an actual system for being able to bring large-scale capital into living ecosystems, human and other living systems, all of that together. We've started with what's called Love to be Bright Green, which is about spreading regenerative farming and also the conservation of nature across the planet by bringing large-scale capital to that particular change. And the current systems just were not up to it. So the first one is that the evaluation systems we have at the moment are not holistic. At very best, we measure carbon, which is one single measure. We don't look at the whole ecosystem. And very often people are trying to put a value on the price of a tree without any recognition of what that tree is doing and what it's supported by all around it. So we wanted to make a holistic evaluation system which we succeeded in doing by looking at the work that human beings do to look after the environment. We know how to value people's work. We know how to measure improvements in the environment. And so we can actually value the work that human beings do and make that work rewarded and also have the dignity that it deserves, because they are not only providing food, but also fresh air, clean water, healthy soil, biodiversity, and all the other things that we rely on for life. The next thing we needed to do was turn ecological improvement into an asset, something that the financial markets could engage with at scale. And we're very lucky, because of the decentralized finance movement across the world, that we are now able to tokenize assets. In fact, many governments are moving towards tokenizing, so issuing digital tokens for all physical assets. So we now create digital tokens that represent real ecological improvement on the ground. They enable the ecology to stay in place, and they enable the money to move around the world. Those tokens are called bright greens for a very obvious reason. The third thing we needed to do was develop a regenerative business model, a model that actually doesn't end up forcing you into making decisions that are bad for the environment when you're trying to protect it. Most current business models, they're so strong on favoring shareholders that they don't allow businesses to make wise decisions. They make profit-only driven decisions. We've developed a model that is not a denial of profit. It brings profit together with regeneration. It enables a kind of self-balancing system where we're able to manage the risks that typically go with investment and reduce the risks, and at the same time balance the value and the price that people pay. So the value of shares, the value of the tokens, it's all rather complex, so I can't explain it, but it actually solves the problem of either the speculation that you see with a lot of tokenization these days, where values have no connection with real life, and it solves the problem of the traditional old-fashioned business models. So basically, we start as a business. We are currently Love to be Bright Green, a business. We have a product to sell, which is bright greens. And we have created a model that we can see can be embedded potentially all the way from, for example, in Hungary, the work that's being done there to recognize the work of farmers, all the way up to an economic model that enables an entire economy to value the living systems that it relies on, to make money out of that will drive the economy. And so we satisfy the investors and we satisfy the need for a healthy environment on our planet. So it has been very important for us to take action, and it is very important for you to take action, because it's together that we are the solution. I live in a world where people often say, oh, we'll wait for Sarah and Tim Bennett, my business partner, to find all the solutions, and then we would love to get involved.
Sorry, Sarah. Mick, could you just stop screen sharing for a minute? Because it's actually coming up on the broadcast. I know that's not your intention, but it is coming up. So if you're able to just stop that, we'll go back to Sarah for my last minute or so. Thanks, Mick.
People often wait for somebody else to get everything sorted out before they want to take action. We found that we couldn't wait for leaders. We couldn't wait for other business people. We couldn't wait for the financial systems. We couldn't wait for anything, except we just had to wait for ourselves. And so we went into action. And now what I see is that the key to making all of this work is that people who can contribute, who can do something, we get together and we build the pieces. Many of them are built all over the world already. We work together to make the whole thing work and become a solution that values life. If you're thinking, what can I do? There are two things that I think you can do. First, turn your inner economy into an investment economy rather than a wasting and spending economy. And then from there, you can invest in two things. You can invest in learning about money. What is money really? And you can invest your money in anything that really aligns with your values. Understand the power of money. What you spend your money on, even little bits, really counts. Align it with your values, and that will change the world. Thank you very much.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Sarah McCrum. Thank you for that. Love to is an extraordinary example of doing implementation at scale. And it's great to see the synergy between the first couple of speakers there. I think it'd be great to connect with Giacomo and Alessandro, what you're doing. I know Sarah didn't have time to get to all of it, but there's a lot of Dutch agriculturalists which are really connecting strongly to this concept, and it'd be fascinating to broaden that into other European contexts. So thank you for that. Synergy is here with us, and really appreciate you, Sarah, being part of the symposium. Love your work. You're doing incredible things.